A billionaire CEO kneels in the rain in front of a street vendor's empty cart, begging for forgiveness. Not with money, but with the truth about a childhood promise he'd forgotten and she never knew she'd made. She has every reason to walk away. He has everything to lose if she does. Between them stands a little girl who just wants a family and a past that connected them long before wealth ever divided them. Will the truth be enough to rebuild what deception destroyed? If you want to see how far a single act of kindness can travel across a lifetime, stay with me until the end. Hit that like button and drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story reaches. Ryan Hale had learned early that mornings were unforgiving. The alarm went off at 5:30, same as always, cutting through the silence of his Nashville penthouse like a blade. He didn't need it. His body had been trained for years to wake before the sun, but routines were rituals, and rituals kept chaos at bay. He rolled out of bed, feet hitting cold hardwood, and moved through the motions with mechanical precision. Shower, shave, suit, black coffee, no sugar. By 6:15, he was standing in the kitchen, staring at a breakfast he wouldn't eat, listening to the hum of a city waking up 30 floors below. "Daddy?" The voice was small, hesitant. Ryan turned to find his daughter standing in the doorway, barefoot and half swallowed by an oversized pajama shirt. Lily was 6 years old, dark-haired and serious, in a way that made his chest ache every time he looked at her. She had her mother's eyes, wide and searching, but nothing else. Her mother had left when Lily was 2, walked out without explanation, and never looked back. Ryan didn't talk about it. Lily didn't ask. "Morning, sweetheart?" He crouched down, smoothing a strand of hair behind her ear. "You're up early." "I couldn't sleep." "Bad dream?" She shook her head. "Just thinking." Ryan smiled, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. "Thinking about what?" Lily shrugged, picking at the hem of her shirt. "School and, I don't know, stuff." She was too young to carry that kind of weight, but Ryan didn't know how to take it from her. He was good at building empires, negotiating deals, turning failing companies into gold mines. But fatherhood? That was a different kind of impossible. "Come on," he said, standing and offering his hand. "Let's get you some breakfast." She followed him into the kitchen, silent as always, and climbed onto a bar stool while he poured her a bowl of cereal. He watched her eat, each small bite deliberate and slow, and wondered, not for the first time, if he was doing any of this right. His phone buzzed on the counter. A text from his assistant. "Board meeting moved to 8. Traffic's bad. Leave now." Ryan sighed, grabbed his briefcase, and kissed the top of Lily's head. "Mrs. Chen will take you to school, okay? I'll see you tonight." "Okay." He hesitated, wanting to say more, but the words tangled somewhere between his brain and his mouth. So he just nodded and left. The drive downtown was a blur of brake lights and exhaust fumes. Ryan sat in the back of the town car, scrolling through emails he didn't care about, thinking about a daughter who deserved better than a father who was always halfway out the door. The meeting would run long. It always did. By the time he got home, Lily would be asleep, and the day would reset and nothing would change. His driver, Martin, took a detour to avoid construction, cutting through a neighborhood Ryan didn't recognize. The streets here were narrower, older, lined with storefronts that had seen better decades. Food trucks and street carts dotted the sidewalks, steam rising from grills, the smell of bacon and fresh bread cutting through the morning smog. "Pull over," Ryan said suddenly. Martin glanced in the rearview mirror. "Sir?" "Just for a minute, I need coffee." It wasn't entirely true. The coffee at the office was fine, but something about the chaos of the street felt like breathing after being underwater, and Ryan needed a minute to remember what that felt like. He stepped out of the car, adjusting his tie, and scanned the row of carts. Most were still setting up, vendors arranging fruit and hanging signs, but one cart, tucked between a dry cleaner and a shuttered pawn shop, was already open. A hand-painted sign read, "Maya's Breakfast, hot and honest." Ryan walked over. The woman behind the cart was younger than he expected, maybe late 20s, with dark hair pulled into a messy bun and flour dusted across her forearms. She wore a faded apron over a flannel shirt, and her hands moved with the kind of efficiency that came from doing the same thing 1,000 times. She didn't look up when he approached. "What can I get you?" she asked, flipping something on the griddle. "Coffee," Ryan said. "Black." "Out." He blinked. "Out?" Out of coffee, pot's broken. Got tea, though, chamomile or green? Ryan stared at her, waiting for the punchline. When it didn't come, he said, "That's it?" She finally looked up, meeting his eyes with a kind of flat, unimpressed calm that he wasn't used to. "That's it. You want food? What do you have? Egg sandwich, bacon, cheese, toast, $5. I'll take one." She nodded, cracking an egg onto the griddle without ceremony. Ryan watched her work, oddly fascinated by the lack of performance in it. No upselling, no charm, no hustle, just eggs and bread and the sound of sizzling fat. "You always this busy?" he asked, glancing around at the empty street. "It's 6:45 in the morning," she said. "Give it an hour." "Fair enough." She slid the sandwich onto a paper plate and handed it to him. $5. Ryan reached for his wallet, then paused. "Actually, can I get two?" "Two sandwiches?" "Yeah." She raised an eyebrow but didn't argue, turning back to the griddle. While she cooked, Ryan noticed a man sitting on the curb a few feet away, old, weathered, wrapped in a blanket that might have once been blue. He was watching the cart with the kind of quiet hope that made Ryan's stomach twist. The second sandwich came up. Ryan handed over a 20. "Keep the change," he said. The woman, Maya, he assumed, looked at the bill, then at him. "It's $10. You want $10 in change, or are you just bad at math?" Ryan blinked. No, I meant, I don't take tips," she said flatly, holding out a 10. "You pay for what you get, that's the deal." For a moment, Ryan just stood there, caught off guard by the sheer audacity of being refused. Then he took the 10, nodded, and stepped back. "Thanks," he said. "Yeah." He walked back to his car, sandwich in hand, and was about to get in when he heard her call out, "Hey, suit guy." Ryan turned. Maya was holding the second sandwich, looking at him with something that wasn't quite suspicion, but wasn't trust either. "This for you or him?" She nodded toward the man on the curb. Ryan hesitated, suddenly aware of how transparent he must have looked. "Him." Maya studied him for a beat, then walked over to the man and handed him the sandwich herself. The man's face lit up, and he took it with shaking hands, murmuring something Ryan couldn't hear. Maya nodded, said something back, and returned to her cart. She didn't look at Ryan again. He got into the car, and Martin pulled away, and Ryan sat there in silence, staring at the uneaten sandwich in his lap, trying to figure out why he felt like he'd just failed a test he hadn't known he was taking. Why? The board meeting was every bit as tedious as expected. Ryan sat at the head of the table, half listening to presentations about quarterly projections and market expansion, his mind elsewhere. He thought about Lily, alone in that big empty penthouse. He thought about the woman at the cart who'd looked at him like he was nobody special. He thought about the homeless man on the curb and the way his hands had shaken when he took the sandwich. "Ryan?" He snapped back to the present. His CFO, a sharp-eyed woman named Claire, was staring at him expectantly. "Sorry," Ryan said. "Say that again?" Claire's expression didn't change, but he could see the judgment in the tightness around her mouth. "I was asking if you'd reviewed the Nashville expansion proposal." "I did." "And?" "It's fine. Move forward." "Fine," Claire repeated. "That's a $30 million investment, Ryan. Fine doesn't cut it." Ryan leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. "It's a solid plan, Claire. Low risk, high return. What else do you want me to say?" "I want you to say you're paying attention." The room went quiet. Ryan looked around the table. 10 faces, all watching him, waiting. He should have been angry, should have put Claire in her place, reminded her who signed the checks. But he was just tired. "You're right," he said. "I'm distracted. Let's table this until tomorrow." He stood, gathering his things, and walked out before anyone could object. That night, Lily was already asleep by the time he got home. Ryan stood in her doorway, watching the rise and fall of her small chest, and felt the familiar ache settle in his ribs. He wanted to wake her, to ask about her day, to hear her laugh. But she needed rest more than she needed him, so he closed the door and went to his office. He poured himself a drink he wouldn't finish and stared out the window at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Maya was probably closing up her cart, counting cash, going home to whatever life she had. Ryan wondered what that looked like, wondered if she had people waiting for her, or if she was alone too. He shook his head, annoyed at himself. It didn't matter. She was nobody, a stranger, a woman who sold eggs on the street. But the next morning, when his alarm went off at 5:30, Ryan found himself thinking about her anyway. What? He went back 3 days later. It wasn't planned. He told himself he was just taking a different route to the office, that the detour made sense, that he wanted to try the sandwich again. All lies, but functional ones. Maya's cart was in the same spot, steam rising from the griddle, the smell of frying bacon thick in the air. This time, there was a line, 5 people deep, all locals, all chatting with her like they knew her. She moved through orders with the same no-nonsense efficiency, handing out sandwiches and making change without breaking stride. Ryan joined the line and waited. When his turn came, Maya looked up, and for a second, something flickered in her expression. Recognition, maybe, or annoyance. "Suit guy," she said. "Back again." "Guess so." "Coffee's still broken." "I'll survive." She smirked, just barely. "Brave. What do you want?" "Same as last time. 1 sandwich." "Just one?" Ryan paused, hearing the edge in her voice. "Yeah, just one." Maya cracked an egg onto the griddle and didn't say anything else. When the sandwich was ready, she handed it over and Ryan paid exact change this time. "Thanks," he said. "Yeah." He turned to leave, then stopped. "What's your name?" She looked at him, surprised. "Why?" "Just curious." "Maya." "Ryan." She nodded slowly, like she was filing the information away. "Okay, Ryan. See you around." He walked back to the car, and this time he ate the sandwich. It was good. Better than good. And for the first time in a long time, Ryan smiled. Over the next 2 weeks, it became a routine. Every morning, Ryan stopped at Maya's cart. Sometimes he got there early, before the crowd. Sometimes he waited in line. He learned that she opened at 6, closed at noon, and refused to serve anything she wouldn't eat herself. He learned that she had regulars, people who called her by name, who joked with her, who trusted her in a way that felt earned, not bought. And he learned that she didn't care who he was. Not in the way most people didn't care, polite indifference, fake smiles, but genuinely didn't care. She treated him the same as everyone else. No special treatment, no awe, no hustle. It was disorienting and addictive. "You ever take a day off?" Ryan asked one morning, leaning against the side of the cart while she prepped. "Sundays," Maya said, chopping onions. "Why?" "Just wondering. Seems like a lot of work." "It is. So why do it?" She stopped chopping and looked at him. "Because it's mine. Nobody gave it to me. Nobody can take it away. That worth something to you, or is that a foreign concept?" Ryan laughed, caught off guard. "Fair point." "Thought so." She went back to the onions, and Ryan watched her work, feeling something shift in his chest. It wasn't attraction, not yet anyway. It was something quieter. Respect, maybe. Or envy. "You got kids?" Maya asked suddenly. Ryan nodded. "A daughter, Lily. She's 6. She like eggs?" "She likes cereal." "Sounds boring." Ryan smiled. "She's not boring, just careful." Maya glanced at him, and for a second her expression softened. "Careful's not bad. Means she's paying attention." "Yeah," Ryan said quietly. "Maybe." A customer stepped up, breaking the moment, and Ryan stepped aside. But as he walked back to his car, sandwich in hand, he found himself wondering what Maya would think of Lily, and what Lily would think of her. The idea came to him that night, sitting in his office, staring at nothing. He wanted Lily to meet Maya. It was ridiculous. Maya was a stranger, a street vendor, someone he'd known for all of 2 weeks. But something about her bluntness, her steadiness, her refusal to bullshit, felt like something Lily needed, something they both needed. So the next morning, Ryan brought her along. Lily sat in the back seat, quiet and wide-eyed, clutching her backpack. She didn't ask where they were going, and Ryan didn't explain. When they pulled up to the cart, he opened her door and offered his hand. "Come on," he said. "I want you to meet someone." Lily took his hand and followed him to the cart. Maya looked up, saw the little girl, and her expression shifted, something guarded falling away, replaced by something gentler. "Hey," Maya said. Who's this? This is Lily, Ryan said. Lily, this is Maya. Lily stared at Maya, then at the griddle, then back at Maya. You make food? I do, Maya said. You hungry? Lily nodded. What do you like? Cereal. Maya raised an eyebrow, glancing at Ryan. Cereal, huh? That's it? She's 6, Ryan said. Work with me. Maya crouched down so she was eye level with Lily. Tell you what, I don't have cereal, but I can make you eggs, scrambled, with cheese. You ever had that? Lily shook her head. Want to try? Lily looked at Ryan. He nodded. She looked back at Maya and said very quietly, Okay. Maya smiled, a real smile, the first Ryan had seen, and stood up. All right, 1 scrambled egg, extra cheese, coming up. She cooked while Lily watched, mesmerized by the way Maya moved, the way the eggs fluffed and folded. When it was ready, Maya put it on a plate and handed it to Lily. Careful, she said. It's hot. Lily took a tentative bite, then another. Then she looked up at Maya and said, It's good. Maya's smile widened. Yeah? Yeah. Ryan felt something loosen in his chest, something he didn't have a name for. Thank you, he said quietly. Maya looked at him, and for the first time her gaze wasn't guarded. It was open, curious. She's sweet, Maya said. Takes after her mom, I bet. Ryan's jaw tightened. Her mom's not around. Maya's expression shifted, understanding flickering there. Oh, sorry. Don't be. They stood there for a moment, the sounds of the street filling the silence. Then Lily tugged on Ryan's sleeve. Can we come back? She asked. Ryan looked at Maya. Maya looked back. Yeah, Ryan said. We can come back. And they did. Over the following days, mornings at the cart became a ritual for all 3 of them. Lily started requesting specific things, eggs with cheese, toast with jam, once even asking if Maya could make pancakes. She couldn't, but she promised to try. Maya teased her gently in a way that made Lily giggle, a sound Ryan hadn't heard in months. And slowly, carefully, Ryan and Maya started talking. Not about anything deep at first, just small things. Favorite foods, worst customers, the weather. But the conversations grew, stretching out, until Ryan found himself arriving earlier just to have more time. You always wanted to run a food cart? Ryan asked one morning, watching her crack eggs with one hand. No, Maya said. I wanted to be a chef, went to culinary school for a year. What happened? Money happened, and life, and a lot of other shit I don't feel like getting into before 7 a.m. Ryan nodded. Fair. What about you? Maya asked. You always want to wear a suit and look miserable? Ryan laughed despite himself. I'm not miserable. You sure? Because you've got this whole I'm dead inside but too polite to mention it thing going on. Wow. Tell me how you really feel. Maya grinned, just calling it like I see it. Ryan shook his head, but he was smiling. I run a company, real estate mostly. It's fine. Fine, Maya repeated. There's that word again. What word? Fine. You say it a lot, like you're trying to convince yourself. Ryan opened his mouth to argue, then stopped, because she was right. Maybe I am, he admitted. Maya looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. Yeah, thought so. She didn't push, didn't pry. She just handed him his sandwich and moved on to the next customer. And somehow, that made it easier. One morning, about a month in, everything changed. Ryan and Lily arrived at the cart to find a crowd gathered, bigger than usual. People were taking pictures, whispering, pointing. Ryan's stomach dropped. He pushed through the crowd and found Maya standing behind her cart, arms crossed, facing down a man in a polo shirt holding a clipboard. I'm telling you, the man was saying, you don't have the proper permits for this location. You need to move. I've been here for 3 years, Maya said, voice steady but tight. Never had a problem before. Well, you've got one now. City's cracking down. You've got until end of the week. That's 4 days. Then you better get moving. The man walked away, and the crowd began to disperse. Maya stood there, staring at the empty space where he'd been, her hands shaking. Ryan stepped forward. Maya, don't, she said quietly. Just don't. Let me help. How? She turned to him, and her eyes were bright with anger and something close to fear. You gonna wave a magic wand? Fix it with money? That how your world works? I didn't mean, I know what you meant, and I don't need it. I've been handling my own problems for a long time, Ryan. I don't need you to swoop in and save me. Ryan stepped back, stung. Okay, I'm sorry. Maya took a breath, visibly steadying herself. I'm sorry too, I need to think. She turned back to the cart, and Ryan took Lily's hand and led her away. As they walked to the car, Lily looked up at him. Is Maya sad? Yeah, sweetheart, she is. Are you going to help her? Ryan looked back at the cart, at Maya's rigid shoulders, at the weight she was carrying alone. I'm going to try, he said, and for the first time in a long time, he meant it. Quote. That night, Ryan made calls. He reached out to contacts in the city planning office, called in favors, pulled strings he'd been saving for emergencies. By midnight, he had answers. The permit issue was real, but fixable. Someone had filed a complaint, probably a competitor, and the city was obligated to follow up. But there were loopholes, extensions, options. Ryan could fix it, easily. But something stopped him. Maya's words echoed in his head. I don't need you to swoop in and save me. She was right. If he fixed this, she'd know. She'd see his fingerprints all over it, and whatever fragile trust they'd built would shatter. So instead, Ryan did something harder. He waited. The next morning, he went to the cart alone. Maya was there, setting up, moving slower than usual. She looked exhausted. Hey, Ryan said. Hey. Where's Lily? School. I wanted to talk to you. Maya sighed, setting down a spatula. If this is about yesterday, it's not. Well, it is, but not the way you think. Ryan hesitated, then said, I looked into the permit thing. There are options, extensions, appeals. It's not hopeless. Maya's eyes narrowed. You looked into it? Yeah. How? I know people. Of course you do. She shook her head, but there was no venom in it, just weariness. And let me guess, you've got a solution. I've got information. What you do with it is up to you. Maya studied him, and Ryan forced himself to hold her gaze. Finally, she nodded. Okay, tell me. And he did. They spent the next hour going over options, Maya taking notes on the back of a receipt, asking questions Ryan didn't always have answers to. By the end, she had a plan. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. Thank you, she said quietly. You're welcome. She looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time, Ryan felt like she was seeing past the suit. Why do you keep coming back here? She asked. Ryan thought about lying, thought about deflecting, but something in her gaze demanded honesty. Because when I'm here, he said, I feel like a person. Not a job title, not a bank account, just me. Maya's expression softened. Yeah, I get that. They stood there in the quiet morning light, and Ryan realized he didn't want to leave. But Lily was waiting, and the world was waiting, and this moment, fragile as it was, couldn't last forever. I should go, he said. Yeah, Maya said, you should. But neither of them moved, and when Ryan finally walked away, he carried the weight of something unspoken, something that felt a lot like the beginning of everything. The following week unfolded in a rhythm Ryan hadn't known he was missing. Every morning, he and Lily stopped at the cart. Every morning, Maya had something ready. Eggs for Lily, coffee for Ryan, once she'd fixed the ancient percolator with duct tape and sheer stubbornness. The permit issue hung over everything like weather that refused to break. But Maya didn't talk about it and Ryan didn't push. He'd given her the information. The rest was hers to handle. What surprised him was how easily they'd fallen into something that almost looked like friendship. You're late, Maya said one Thursday morning, not looking up from the griddle. Ryan checked his watch. 6:52. It's not even 7. You're usually here by 6:40. That's late. Lily giggled, climbing onto the milk crate Maya had started keeping by the cart just for her. Ryan shot his daughter a look that said traitor, but Lily just grinned. Traffic, Ryan said. Uh-huh. Maya cracked 3 eggs in quick succession, the shells breaking clean in her hands. Or you overslept because you were up late doing whatever billionaires do at night. Counting money? Swimming in gold coins like a cartoon duck? Ryan blinked. I'm not a... What? Maya glanced at him, one eyebrow raised. A duck? Yeah, I know. You're too uptight for that. I meant billionaire. Oh. She shrugged, unbothered. Rich then, same difference. Ryan opened his mouth, then closed it. He wasn't sure how to explain that he was, in fact, exactly what she'd joked about, CEO of a development firm worth more than some small countries. The fact that she didn't know felt increasingly important, like a secret he didn't want to give up. I do okay, he said finally. Sure you do. That's why you wear a different $1,000 suit every day. They're not. Ryan stopped, realizing he was about to argue the price point of his wardrobe. You know what? Never mind. Maya smirked, sliding a plate toward Lily. Smart man. Lily dug into her eggs, swinging her legs, and Ryan found himself smiling despite the fact that he'd just been thoroughly handled by a woman who made breakfast on a street corner. Hey, Maya, Lily said, her mouth half full. Yeah, kiddo? Can you teach me how to cook? Maya paused, spatula in midair, and looked at the little girl with something unreadable in her expression. Then she glanced at Ryan, a silent question passing between them. Ryan nodded. Sure, Maya said. But not here. Too dangerous with the heat and the crowd. Maybe sometime when I'm not working. Lily's face lit up. Really? Really? But you've got to promise me something. What? You eat more than just cereal, deal? Lily considered this with the gravity of someone negotiating a hostage release. Then she stuck out her hand. Deal! They shook on it, and Ryan felt something crack open in his chest. Something warm and terrifying and unfamiliar. When they left, Lily talked about it the entire drive to school, what she'd learned to make, whether Maya liked pancakes, if they could invite her over someday. Ryan listened, murmuring agreement, his mind elsewhere. He was already thinking about how to make that happen without revealing too much, without letting Maya see the penthouse, the staff, the life that would make her look at him differently. He didn't want her to look at him differently. Not yet. That night, Claire cornered him after a conference call. You've been distracted, she said, arms crossed, leaning against his office door in that way she did when she was gearing up for a fight. Ryan didn't look up from his laptop. I'm fine. You're not. You left the Riverfront meeting early last week. You've been late to 2 board calls, and yesterday you approved a budget without reading it. That got his attention. Ryan closed the laptop and met her eyes. It was within parameters. That's not the point. The point is you're checked out, and people are noticing. Ryan stood, walking to the window that overlooked downtown Nashville. From here, the city looked clean, orderly, nothing like the messy tangle of streets where Maya's cart sat. He wondered if she was home yet, wondered what home even looked like for her. I've been doing this for 15 years, Ryan said quietly. I'm allowed to be tired. Tired is one thing. Whatever this is, it's something else. Claire stepped closer, her voice softening in a way that felt almost dangerous. Is it Lily? Partly. And the other part? Ryan didn't answer. Claire sighed. Look, I'm not trying to be a pain in your ass. I'm trying to keep this company from imploding while you figure out whatever midlife crisis you're working through. But I need you here, Ryan, present. Can you do that? He wanted to say yes. Wanted to promise he'd get his head straight, that the business would come first like it always had. But the words stuck. I'm trying, he said instead. Try harder. She left, and Ryan stood there in the empty office, the city lights blurring in front of him, wondering when he'd stopped being able to care about the things he'd built. The next morning, Maya wasn't at the cart. A handwritten sign hung from the awning, closed today, back tomorrow. Ryan stared at it, Lily's hand in his, feeling something close to panic rise in his throat. Where's Maya? Lily asked. I don't know, sweetheart. Is she okay? I'm sure she's fine. But he wasn't sure, not even a little. He thought about calling, except he didn't have her number. Thought about waiting, except Lily had school and he had meetings. So he did the only thing he could. He got back in the car and tried to pretend the day felt normal. It didn't. By lunch, Ryan had checked his phone 6 times, as if Maya might materialize in his messages. By 3, he was pacing his office, ignoring emails, ignoring Claire's pointed looks through the glass wall. At 4:30, he made a decision that was either brave or stupid. He went back to the cart. The street was quieter now, the lunch rush long gone. The cart sat empty, the griddle cold. But Maya was there, sitting on the curb with a notebook in her lap, writing something in cramped, uneven handwriting. Ryan approached slowly, unsure if he was intruding. "Hey," he said. Maya looked up, surprised. "Hey, what are you doing here?" "Saw the sign. Wanted to make sure you were okay." She closed the notebook, tucking it under her arm. "I'm fine, just had some stuff to take care of." "Permit stuff?" "Yeah." Ryan sat down beside her, uninvited but not unwelcome. "How'd it go?" Maya let out a long breath, leaning back on her hands. "They're giving me an extension. 2 months to get everything in order. It's not permanent, but it's something." "That's good." "Yeah." She didn't sound convinced. "What's wrong?" Maya looked at him, then away, her jaw tight. "You ever feel like no matter how hard you work, the finish line just keeps moving?" Ryan didn't have to think about it. "Every day." "Yeah, well, that's where I'm at." She picked at a loose thread on her jeans. "I'm tired, Ryan, and I don't mean the kind of tired that sleep fixes. I mean the kind that makes you wonder what the point is." Ryan knew that feeling, knew it so well it lived in his bones. "You keep going," he said, "because stopping feels worse." Maya laughed, but there was no humor in it. "That's bleak." "It's honest." They sat in silence for a while, watching the street. A bus rolled by, exhaust trailing behind it. Someone shouted in Spanish from an open window. The city moved around them, indifferent and relentless. "Can I ask you something?" Maya said. "Sure. Why do you keep coming back here? And don't give me that 'I like the food' bullshit. There's a coffee shop 2 blocks from your office. I've seen it. So why here?" Ryan considered lying, considered deflecting. But sitting there on the dirty curb with the sun slanting low, it felt wrong. "Because you're the only person in my life who doesn't need anything from me," he said. "You don't want a favor or a job or a favor disguised as networking. You just exist, and that's enough." Maya turned to look at him, really look at him, and Ryan felt exposed in a way he hadn't since he was a kid. "I think that's the saddest thing anyone's ever said to me," she said quietly. "Yeah, probably." She shook her head, but she was almost smiling. "You're kind of a mess, you know that?" "I'm aware. And you've got a kid who deserves better than a dad who's running on fumes." "I know that too." Maya stood, brushing off her jeans. "Then maybe stop lying to yourself about being fine, because you're not. And pretending just makes it worse." Ryan stood too, stung but unable to argue. "What about you? What about me? You're running on fumes too. Don't act like you're not." Maya's expression hardened. "That's different." "How?" "Because I don't have a choice. You do." The words hit like a punch, and Ryan stepped back, suddenly aware of the gulf between them, the one he'd been pretending didn't exist. "I should go," he said. "Yeah, you should." But as he walked away, Maya called after him. "Ryan?" He turned. "Bring Lily by tomorrow. I'll teach her how to make pancakes." Ryan nodded, something loosening in his chest. "Okay. Thanks. Don't thank me yet. She's probably going to burn them." He smiled despite everything and got in his car. That weekend, Maya came to the penthouse. Ryan had agonized over it for days, trying to figure out how to make the space feel less like a museum and more like a home. He'd hidden the most obvious signs of wealth, put away the sculpture Lily liked to call the weird metal blob, covered the grand piano no one played, told Mrs. Chen to take the day off. It didn't work. The moment Maya stepped through the door, her eyes went wide. "You've got to be kidding me," she said. Lily ran up, oblivious to the tension. "Maya, you're here." Maya crouched down, hugging the little girl, but her gaze stayed fixed on Ryan. "You didn't mention you lived in a castle." "It's not a castle. It's got 30-foot ceilings and a chandelier the size of my cart. It's a castle." Ryan rubbed the back of his neck. "Look, I know it's a lot." "A lot?" Maya stood, crossing her arms. "Ryan, I thought you did okay. This is not doing okay. This is doing stupid rich." Lily tugged on Maya's hand. "Can we make pancakes now?" Maya looked down at her and her expression softened. "Yeah, kiddo, let's make pancakes." They moved to the kitchen. a sprawling marble and steel affair that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Maya surveyed it with the critical eye of someone who knew her way around food. "You even use this stuff?" she asked, running a hand over the six-burner stove. "Sometimes," Ryan lied. "Uh-huh." She opened the fridge, which was mostly empty except for takeout containers and a gallon of milk. "Yeah, I can tell." Lily climbed onto a stool, watching as Maya gathered ingredients. Ryan hung back, feeling out of place in his own home. "You gonna help or just stand there looking uncomfortable?" Maya asked. "I'll help." "Good. Give me a bowl." A big one. Ryan opened 3 cabinets before finding what she needed. Maya raised an eyebrow but didn't comment. For the next hour, the kitchen filled with the smell of butter and batter and something that felt dangerously close to normal. Lily cracked eggs, badly, shells and all, and Maya showed her how to fish them out with a spoon. Ryan mixed the batter under Maya's instruction, trying not to think about the last time he'd done something this simple. "Okay, kiddo," Maya said, handing Lily a ladle. "Pour it in the pan. Not too much, just enough to cover the bottom." Lily poured, her tongue sticking out in concentration. The pancake came out lumpy and uneven, but when she flipped it, mostly successfully, she beamed. "I did it!" "You did," Maya said, grinning. "Now do 9 more and we'll have breakfast." They ate at the kitchen island, pancakes stacked high, syrup everywhere. Lily talked nonstop, telling Maya about school, about her friend Emma, who had a guinea pig, about how her dad didn't know how to braid hair. "That true?" Maya asked, looking at Ryan. "Completely true." "Tragic." "I'm aware." Maya reached over and ruffled Lily's hair. "Guess I'll have to teach you that too." Lily's eyes went wide. "Really? Really? But later, I'm not a miracle worker." Ryan watched them, watched the easy way Maya moved through the space, the way Lily leaned into her without hesitation, and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. After breakfast, Lily dragged Maya to her room to show off her stuffed animal collection. Ryan stayed in the kitchen, cleaning up, listening to their voices drift down the hall. When Maya came back, she was smiling, but it faded when she saw his expression. "What?" she asked. "Thank you," Ryan said. "For this. For her." "You don't have to thank me. She's a good kid." "She is. But she's been quiet since her mom left. She doesn't open up to people, but with you, it's different." Maya leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "Kids are easy. They don't bullshit. They just say what they mean. Adults could learn something from that." Ryan met her eyes. "Is that your way of telling me I bullshit too much?" "Little bit, yeah." He laughed, surprised. "Fair." Maya tilted her head, studying him. "Why'd she leave?" "The mom." Ryan's smile faded. "I don't know. One day she was here. The next, she wasn't. She left a note. 2 sentences. Said she couldn't do it anymore." "Do what?" "Any of it. Me, Lily, the life." She didn't elaborate. Maya's expression tightened. I don't even have words for that." "Yeah, me neither." They stood there in the too bright kitchen, the weight of the conversation pressing down like a hand on the chest. "I'm sorry," Maya said finally. "Don't be. We're better off." "Are you?" Ryan didn't answer. Couldn't. Maya pushed off the counter, shaking her head. "You know what your problem is? I'm sure you'll tell me. You think you have to carry everything alone, like asking for help is weakness, but it's not. It's just being human." Ryan looked at her, at the fierce certainty in her eyes, and wondered when the last time someone had told him the truth without softening it first. "You make it sound easy," he said. "It's not, but nothing worth doing is." Before Ryan could respond, Lily came running back in, holding a stuffed giraffe. "Maya, look, this is Gerald. He's my favorite." Maya took the giraffe, examining it seriously. "Gerald's a solid name, very dignified. He's been to Paris. Has he now?" "In my imagination." Maya grinned. "Best way to travel." Ryan watched them, something breaking open inside him, something that felt like grief and relief all at once. Over the next few weeks, the 3 of them fell into a new routine. Maya came over twice a week, usually Sundays and Wednesdays, teaching Lily to cook, to braid hair, to be a little less careful, and a little more brave. Ryan watched from the edges, learning things about his daughter he hadn't known. That she liked her eggs over easy, not scrambled. That she was scared of thunder but loved the rain. That she laughed when Maya did terrible impressions of cooking show hosts. And somewhere in the middle of all that, Ryan fell for Maya. Not the explosive, movie kind of falling, the slow kind, the kind that crept up in quiet moments, when she wiped flour off Lily's nose, when she argued with him about whether cilantro belonged on everything, when she fell asleep on his couch after a long day and he covered her with a blanket and didn't wake her. He didn't tell her, didn't know how, but he thought about it constantly. One night, after Lily was asleep and Maya was packing up to leave, Ryan walked her to the door. "Can I ask you something?" he said. Maya paused, slinging her bag over her shoulder. "Shoot. Why do you keep coming back here?" She looked at him surprised. "What do you mean?" "You've got your own life, your own problems, but you keep showing up for us. Why?" Maya's expression shifted, something vulnerable flickering there before she looked away. "Honestly, I don't know. At first I thought it was just because I liked Lily, but now? She met his eyes again, and Ryan's breath caught. "Now I think it's because you guys feel like something I didn't know I was looking for." Ryan stepped closer, his heart pounding. "Maya, don't," she said quietly. "Whatever you're about to say, don't, not yet." "Why not?" "Because I need to figure some things out first, and so do you." She left, and Ryan stood in the doorway, watching her go, feeling like he'd just missed something important. The truth came out on a Tuesday. Ryan was at the office, buried in contracts, when his phone rang. An unknown number. He almost didn't answer. "Hello? Mr. Hale?" A woman's voice, clipped and professional. "This is Dana Wright from the Nashville Herald. I'm working on a story about your company's new development project, and I was hoping to get a comment." Ryan frowned. "What project?" "The Eastside Rezoning Initiative. We've received reports that Hale Enterprises is acquiring properties in the area for commercial redevelopment." Ryan's blood went cold. The East Side, where Maya's cart sat. "I'm not involved in that project," he said carefully. "But your company is." "Who approved it?" There was a pause. "I was hoping you could tell me." Ryan hung up and immediately called Claire. She answered on the first ring. "I was wondering when you'd find out. What the hell is going on? The Eastside acquisition. It's been in the works for months. I thought you knew." "I didn't." "You signed off on the preliminary budget in March." Ryan's mind raced. March. The budget he'd approved without reading because he was distracted. "Shut it down," he said. "What?" "Shut it down. Pull out of the deal." "Ryan, we're already $6 million in. If we pull out now, I don't care. Do it." Claire was silent for a long moment. "This is about her, isn't it? The woman from the cart." Ryan didn't answer. "Jesus Christ, Ryan, you're torpedoing a multi-million-dollar deal over some girl you've known for 2 months? She's not some girl. And yes, shut it down." He hung up before Claire could argue. But the damage was already done. The story broke the next morning. Ryan saw it on his phone before he even got out of bed. Billionaire CEO behind Eastside Development Project. His picture. Maya's cart in the background. The article laid it all out. His company, his net worth, the rezoning plans that would have displaced dozens of small businesses, including Maya's. Ryan's hands shook as he read it. By the time he got to the cart, a crowd had already gathered. Cameras, reporters, Maya standing in the middle of it all, her face pale, her arms wrapped around herself. She saw him, and her expression crumpled. "Maya, don't." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Just don't." "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." "You're a billionaire." She laughed, but it sounded like breaking. "You've been lying to me this whole time." "I never lied. You let me think you were just some guy. You let me—" Her voice cracked, and she shook her head. "I trusted you. Lily trusted you, and this whole time you were planning to destroy everything I've built." "I wasn't. The company was, but I stopped it. I shut the whole thing down." "So what? You want credit for not ruining my life? Congratulations, Ryan. You're a real hero." The words hit like bullets, and Ryan stepped back, his chest tight. Maya, please, get out of here, and don't come back. She turned away, and the crowd swallowed her. Ryan stood there, frozen, the world spinning, until someone shoved a microphone in his face, and he finally fled. He didn't go home. He couldn't face Lily, couldn't face the questions she'd ask, the hurt in her eyes when she realized Maya was gone. So he drove. Nowhere in particular, just away. And for the first time in 15 years, Ryan Hale had no idea how to fix what he'd broken. Ryan drove until the city became a blur of lights behind him, the highway stretching out into darkness that felt easier to breathe in. His phone buzzed incessantly. Claire, his lawyers, reporters who'd somehow gotten his personal number. He ignored all of it. There was nothing he could say that would make any of this better. By the time he pulled into a rest stop somewhere past the county line, it was nearly midnight. He sat in the parking lot, engine off, staring at nothing. The worst part wasn't the media circus, or the business fallout, or even Maya's anger. The worst part was knowing she was right. He had lied. Not with words, maybe, but with omission. He'd let her believe he was someone he wasn't because it felt good to be seen as just Ryan. Not the CEO, not the fortune, just a man. But that man didn't exist. He'd built an empire on being more than that. And now the empire had burned the one thing he actually cared about. His phone lit up again. This time it was Mrs. Chen. He answered. Yeah. Mr. Hale. Her voice was tight with worry. Where are you? Lily's asking for you. Ryan closed his eyes. I can't come home yet. She saw the news. Someone at school showed her on their phone. She's very upset. The words hit like a fist to the gut. Of course Lily had seen it. Of course someone had shown her. Kids were cruel without meaning to be, and in a school full of children whose parents read the business section, his face was probably everywhere. Is she okay? Ryan asked, though he already knew the answer. No, Mr. Hale. She is not okay. She's crying and asking for Miss Maya. What do I tell her? Ryan didn't have an answer. I'll be home in an hour, he said finally. Just tell her I'm coming. He hung up before Mrs. Chen could respond and sat there in the silence, hating himself. When he finally drove back to the city, the penthouse felt like a tomb. Mrs. Chen met him at the door, her expression carefully neutral in that way she had when she was disappointed, but too professional to say it. She's in her room, Mrs. Chen said quietly. I tried to get her to eat dinner. She wouldn't. Thank you. You can go home. Mrs. Chen hesitated, then nodded and left. Ryan walked down the hall to Lily's room and knocked softly. No answer. He opened the door anyway. Lily was curled up on her bed, Gerald the giraffe clutched to her chest, her face blotchy and red. She didn't look at him when he came in. Hey, sweetheart, Ryan said, sitting on the edge of the bed. Lily turned away. I know you're upset, and you have every right to be. Emma's mom said you're a liar. Lily's voice was small and raw. She said you trick people. Ryan's jaw tightened. Emma's mom doesn't know what she's talking about. But you didn't tell Maya the truth. That's lying. It's complicated. No, it's not. Lily sat up, her eyes blazing with a kind of fury Ryan had never seen in her. You always tell me to be honest. You always say lying is bad. But you lied to Maya and now she hates us. She doesn't hate you. Yes, she does. She won't answer my calls. I tried to call her 4 times and she didn't answer. Lily's voice broke, tears spilling down her cheeks. She was my friend and you ruined it. Ryan reached for her, but Lily pulled away. I hate you, she whispered. The words hung in the air, sharp and final. Ryan stood slowly, feeling like something inside him had just collapsed. Okay, he said quietly. Okay. He left the room, closing the door behind him, and stood in the hallway with his back against the wall, trying to remember how to breathe. Lily had never said that to him before, not even when her mother left, not even when he'd missed her birthday 2 years ago because of an acquisition in Seattle. She'd been sad, disappointed, but never angry, never hateful. And the worst part was she was right. He had ruined it, all of it. Ryan walked to his office, poured himself 3 fingers of whiskey, and sat in the dark. The next morning, he didn't go to work. He called Claire and told her to handle everything, then turned off his phone and sat in the living room, staring at the city through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Somewhere out there, Maya was probably opening her cart, serving customers, pretending her life hadn't been upended. Or maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was packing up, getting ready to leave, because the extension didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. Lily didn't come out of her room until noon. When she did, she walked past him without a word, poured herself a bowl of cereal, and sat at the kitchen island with her back to him. Ryan watched her, aching to fix this and having no idea how. "Lily, I don't want to talk to you. I know, but I need to explain." "There's nothing to explain. You lied. That's it." Ryan walked over, standing on the other side of the island. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I didn't know about the development project. My company was handling it, and I didn't pay attention because I was distracted." "Distracted by what?" "By you and Maya, by trying to figure out how to be a better dad." Lily looked up at him, her eyes red-rimmed. "You're not a better dad. You're the same. You just pretend." The words cut deep, but Ryan didn't flinch. "You're right. I do pretend. I pretend I have everything under control. I pretend I know what I'm doing, but the truth is, I don't. I'm just making it up as I go and hoping I don't screw up too badly." Lily stared at him, her expression unreadable. "I'm sorry," Ryan said. "I'm sorry I lied to Maya. I'm sorry I let you down. And I'm sorry I don't know how to fix this, but I'm going to try. I promise you, I'm going to try." Lily pushed her cereal away, uneaten. "Maya doesn't want to see you." "I know." "So what are you going to do?" Ryan didn't have an answer. Not one that made sense, anyway. "I don't know yet," he admitted. Lily slid off the stool and walked back to her room without another word. Ryan stood there in the empty kitchen, the silence pressing down like a weight, and realized he'd never felt more alone in his life. The next few days passed in a haze. Ryan went through the motions, conference calls, emails, meetings he barely paid attention to. Claire handled the fallout from the East Side project, spinning it as a strategic pivot, damage control that kept the board from staging a full revolt. The media moved on to the next scandal, as they always did. But the wreckage remained. Lily stopped talking to him altogether. She ate in her room, did her homework in silence, and went to bed without saying goodnight. Mrs. Chen tried to mediate, but even she couldn't bridge the gap that had opened between them. And Maya? Maya was a ghost. Ryan drove past her cart 3 times, always early in the morning when the streets were empty. Twice, it was closed, the shutters down. Once, it was open, but someone else was running it, a younger guy with tattoos and a bored expression. Ryan didn't stop, didn't ask questions, just kept driving. On the 4th day, he broke. He parked 2 blocks away, put on a baseball cap and sunglasses like some kind of idiot trying to go incognito, and walked to the cart. The same guy was there flipping eggs with one hand, scrolling his phone with the other. "Is Maya around?" Ryan asked, keeping his voice low. The guy looked up, squinting at him. "Who's asking?" "A friend." "Yeah, I don't think so." Ryan pulled off the sunglasses. "Please, I just need to know if she's okay." The guy's expression shifted, recognition, then something like disgust. "Oh, you're that guy." "Yeah, I'm that guy." "She doesn't want to see you, man. Like, really doesn't want to see you. She made me promise to call the cops if you showed up." Ryan stepped back, the words hitting harder than they should have. "Is she okay?" The guy shrugged. "Define okay. She's not here, if that's what you're asking. Took some time off. Said she needed to clear her head." "Where'd she go?" "Didn't say. And even if she did, I sure as hell wouldn't tell you." Ryan nodded slowly. "Right, okay, thanks." He walked back to his car, got in, and sat there staring at nothing until someone honked at him to move. That night, Lily came out of her room. Ryan was sitting on the couch, laptop open but unused, when she appeared in the doorway. She looked smaller somehow, like the anger had burned through her and left something fragile behind. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Of course." Lily walked over and sat on the opposite end of the couch, curling her legs under her. "Did you love her?" Ryan blinked, caught off guard. "What?" "Maya. Did you love her?" He opened his mouth to deflect, to say something safe and vague, but Lily's eyes stopped him. She deserved the truth, at least this truth. "I think I was starting to," Ryan said quietly. "And now?" "Now I don't know if it matters. She doesn't want anything to do with me." Lily picked at the edge of a pillow. "She told me once that people mess up. She said the important thing is what you do after. When did she tell you that? When I spilled juice all over her floor and started crying, she said mistakes happen and you just clean them up and move on. Ryan felt something crack in his chest. That sounds like her. So why aren't you cleaning it up? I don't know how. Lily looked at him, her expression so serious it hurt. Then figure it out. Because I miss her. And I think you do too. She stood and walked back to her room, leaving Ryan alone with the weight of her words. The next morning, Ryan made a decision. He called Claire and told her he was taking a leave of absence. She argued, predictably, but Ryan didn't budge. He needed time. Time to think. Time to figure out who he was without the company defining him. Time to fix what mattered. Then he called his mother. She lived in Florida now, had for the past decade, and they talked maybe twice a year. But she answered on the third ring, her voice warm and surprised. Ryan, is everything okay? Not really, Mom. Can I ask you something? Of course. Ryan hesitated, staring out at the city. Do you remember when I was a kid, before Dad's business took off? We didn't have much. I remember. There was this one time, I must have been 8 or 9. We were at a park and I was hungry, but you didn't have money for food. And this girl, she couldn't have been much older than me. She came over and gave me half her sandwich. Do you remember that? There was a long pause. I do. You talked about her for weeks, said she was the nicest person you'd ever met. Do you remember what she looked like? Ryan, that was almost 30 years ago. Try, Mom, please. His mother sighed, thinking. Dark hair, I think, and she had a backpack with patches all over it. One of them was a strawberry. I remember because you asked me to buy you a backpack just like it for your birthday. Ryan's heart was pounding now. What park was it? Shelby Park. We used to go there all the time before we moved. Why are you asking about this? Ryan didn't answer. He thanked his mother, promised to call her soon, and hung up. Then he grabbed his keys and drove. Shelby Park was in East Nashville, not far from where Maya's cart sat. It was older now, worn at the edges, but still familiar. Ryan parked and walked to the playground, trying to remember. There. The bench where his mother used to sit, reading library books while he played. The swing set, rusted now but still standing. And the picnic area, shaded by oak trees that had grown taller in the decades since. He'd been so hungry that day. His stomach had hurt and he'd been too embarrassed to tell his mother because he knew she didn't have money. And then the girl had appeared, like something out of a story, holding out half a peanut butter sandwich wrapped in a napkin. You look hungry, she'd said. Ryan had taken it, mumbling thanks, too grateful to be proud. What's your name? He'd asked. Maya. Ryan stood in the empty park, the memory crashing over him like a wave. It had been her. All this time, it had been her. She'd given him food when she didn't have to, when she probably didn't have much herself. And years later, he'd shown up at her cart, a stranger in a suit, and she'd done it again, refusing his tip, giving the meal to someone who needed it more. She'd been kind then. She was kind now, and he'd repaid that kindness by lying to her. Ryan pulled out his phone and called the number he'd gotten from the guy at the cart, Maya's number, which he'd charmed out of him with $100 bill and a promise not to be a creep. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. Maya, it's Ryan. I know you don't want to talk to me. I know I screwed up, but I need to tell you something. I remembered you from when we were kids, Shelby Park. You gave me half your sandwich when I was hungry, and I never forgot it. I didn't realize it was you until now, but it was. You were the first person who was ever kind to me without wanting something in return. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you the truth. I'm sorry I let you down. But I need you to know that meeting you again, it changed everything. You changed everything. And I don't know how to fix this, but I'm going to try. Because you deserve that. And so does Lily. He hung up, his hands shaking, and sat down on the bench where his mother used to read. And for the first time in a long time, Ryan let himself cry. 3 days later, Maya called him back. Ryan was at home helping Lily with homework when his phone rang. He almost didn't answer. Unknown number, probably another reporter, but something made him pick up. Hello? It's me. Ryan's breath caught. Maya. Yeah. Lily looked up sharply, her eyes wide. Ryan held up a finger. Wait, and walked into the hallway. I got your message, Maya said. Her voice was flat, careful. And? and I don't know what to do with it. Ryan leaned against the wall, closing his eyes. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just needed you to know the truth. The truth is you're a billionaire who lied to me for months. I didn't lie. You let me believe you were someone you're not. That's the same thing. Ryan didn't argue. He was right. I remembered you, he said quietly. After everything fell apart, I kept trying to figure out why I felt so drawn to you, and then I remembered Shelby Park, the sandwich. It was you. Maya was silent for a long moment. I don't remember that. I didn't think you would. You were just a kid being kind, but for me it mattered. It was the first time someone saw me and didn't see lack. Just another kid who needed help. Ryan, I'm not telling you this to manipulate you. I'm telling you because you deserve to know. You've been kind to me twice in my life, and both times I didn't deserve it. But I'm grateful, and I'm sorry. Maya's breath hitched. I can't do this right now. I know. I need time. I know. And I don't know if I can forgive you. Ryan's throat tightened. I know. But Lily, Maya's voice cracked. She didn't do anything wrong, and I miss her. She misses you too, so much. Can I see her? Yes. Anytime, whatever you want. Maya was quiet for a beat. Saturday, 2:00. That coffee shop on 5th. Just me and her. Okay. Not you. I understand. She hung up and Ryan stood in the hallway, his phone pressed to his chest, feeling something that was equal parts hope and dread. When he told Lily, she burst into tears, the good kind for once, and threw her arms around him. Thank you, Daddy, she whispered. Ryan held her, breathing her in, and thought maybe, just maybe, he hadn't destroyed everything after all. Saturday came too fast and too slow. Ryan drove Lily to the coffee shop, his stomach in knots. Lily was quiet in the back seat, clutching Gerald, her face pressed to the window. You nervous? Ryan asked. A little. It's going to be okay. What if she's still mad? She's not mad at you, sweetheart. She never was. Lily nodded, but she didn't look convinced. They pulled up to the coffee shop and Ryan saw Maya through the window, sitting at a corner table, staring into a cup of tea. She looked tired, thinner, maybe. But when she saw Lily get out of the car, her face lit up in a way that made Ryan's chest ache. Lily ran inside and Ryan watched through the window as Maya stood and pulled her into a hug. Lily clung to her, and Maya bent down, whispering something that made Lily nod. Ryan wanted to go in, wanted to be part of that moment, but he'd promised. So he drove away, circling the block for 2 hours until it was time to pick Lily up. When he pulled up again, Lily was standing outside with Maya, both of them laughing. Maya saw him and her expression shifted, closed off again, guarded. She said something to Lily, kissed the top of her head and stepped back. Lily got in the car and Ryan resisted the urge to look at Maya. How was it? He asked as they pulled away. Good. Lily was smiling, really smiling, for the first time in weeks. She taught me how to make a friendship bracelet, and we talked about school, and she said she's not mad at me. That's good. She asked about you. Ryan's hands tightened on the wheel. What did she ask? If you were okay. I told her you were sad. Lily, well, you are. You don't eat, and you don't sleep, and you just sit in your office all the time. That's sad. Ryan didn't argue. She looked sad too, Lily added quietly. Ryan glanced at her in the rearview mirror. Yeah? Yeah, I think she misses you, but she's scared. Scared of what? Lily shrugged. I don't know. She didn't say, but that's what it looked like. Ryan drove in silence, Lily's words circling in his head. That night, he sat down and wrote Maya a letter. Not an email, not a text. An actual letter, on paper, with a pen. He wrote about the park, about the sandwich, about how he'd spent his whole life building walls and she'd walked right through them without even trying. He wrote about Lily, about how Maya had given his daughter something he couldn't, the ability to laugh again. And he wrote about his failures, not as excuses, but as facts. He didn't ask her to forgive him, didn't ask for another chance. He just told the truth. Then he sealed it, wrote her name on the envelope, and left it at the cart the next morning before the sun came up. He didn't know if she'd read it. Didn't know if it would matter, but it was all he had left to give. Maya found the letter 3 days later, tucked under the cash box where she'd see it first thing. She almost threw it away without reading it. The handwriting on the envelope was careful, deliberate, Ryan's, obviously, and just seeing it made her chest tight. She'd spent the last month trying to rebuild the walls he'd knocked down, trying to convince herself that what they'd had wasn't real, that it was just proximity and loneliness and the fantasy of being someone's exception. But then she thought about Lily, about the way the little girl had hugged her at the coffee shop, about how she'd asked if Maya was coming back. And Maya opened the letter. She read it standing behind the cart, the morning rush building around her, people calling out orders she barely heard. By the time she finished, her hands were shaking and her eyes were burning, and she had to sit down on the milk crate because her legs wouldn't hold her. He remembered. After all these years, he remembered. Maya didn't remember giving some kid a sandwich in Shelby Park. She'd done things like that all the time back then. Her mom had raised her to share what little they had, to look out for people who needed it. But Ryan had carried that moment for 30 years, had let it shape him in ways he probably didn't even understand. And now he was asking for nothing. Not forgiveness, not a second chance, just offering the truth, raw and unvarnished, and leaving it in her hands. Maya folded the letter and put it in her pocket. Then she went back to work because that's what she did. She cooked eggs and poured coffee and smiled at customers and pretended her world wasn't tilting sideways. But that night, alone in her tiny apartment with its peeling wallpaper and secondhand furniture, she pulled the letter out and read it again. And again. And by the fourth time, she was crying. The next Saturday, Maya showed up at the coffee shop early. Lily wasn't supposed to be there for another 20 minutes, but Maya needed the time to settle herself. She ordered tea she didn't drink and sat at the same corner table watching people come and go, trying to figure out what the hell she was doing. She missed Ryan. That was the part she hated admitting, even to herself. She missed the way he listened when she talked, like every word mattered. Missed the way he looked at Lily, like she was the only thing in the world worth protecting. Missed the version of him that had sat on the curb with her and admitted he was tired. But she also couldn't forget the betrayal. The shock of seeing his face on the news, learning he was worth more money than she'd see in 10 lifetimes, realizing he'd been slumming it with her while his company tried to destroy everything she'd built. It didn't matter that he'd stopped it. It didn't matter that he claimed he hadn't known. The damage was done. Or at least that's what she kept telling herself. Lily arrived right on time, Ryan dropping her off at the curb and driving away without coming inside. Maya watched the car disappear and felt something twist in her chest. "Hi, Maya." Lily climbed into the chair across from her, setting Gerald on the table. "Hey, kiddo, how's school?" "Okay, we're learning about fractions." "Fun." "Not really." Lily picked at the edge of Gerald's ear. "Maya, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Are you still mad at my dad?" Maya had known this was coming, had rehearsed answers in her head. But sitting across from this 6-year-old with her serious eyes and her too big heart, all the rehearsed words felt wrong. "I'm not mad," Maya said carefully. "I'm just hurt and confused." "Because he didn't tell you he was rich?" "Yeah. And because I thought I knew him, but it turns out I didn't." Lily nodded slowly, processing. "He cries sometimes now." Maya's throat tightened. "What?" "At night. I hear him. He thinks I'm asleep, but I'm not." Lily looked up, her eyes bright. "He never used to cry. Not even when Mom left." Maya didn't know what to say to that. Didn't know how to explain to a child that sometimes adults broke in ways that couldn't be fixed with a hug and a Band-Aid. "I'm sorry, Lily." "It's not your fault." Lily reached across the table and took Maya's hand. "But I think he loves you. And I think you love him too, so why can't you just fix it?" "Because it's not that simple." "Why not?" Maya opened her mouth, then closed it. "Because how do you explain to a 6-year-old that trust, once broken, doesn't just glue back together? That love isn't always enough when the foundation is cracked? Sometimes grown-ups mess things up so badly that it takes a long time to fix," Maya said finally. "If it can be fixed at all?" Lily's face crumpled. "So you're not coming back?" "I don't know yet. But you have to. You're the only one who makes him smile, and you're the only one besides Daddy who doesn't treat me like I'm breakable." Maya pulled Lily into a hug, feeling the little girl's tears soak into her shirt. "I'm not going anywhere, okay? Even if things don't work out with your dad, I'm still here for you. I promise. You mean it? I mean it. They spent the rest of the afternoon making more friendship bracelets and talking about everything except Ryan. But when Maya dropped Lily off at the curb and saw Ryan waiting in the car, their eyes met through the windshield. He looked wrecked, hollow-eyed and thinner, like he hadn't been sleeping or eating or doing any of the things that kept a person upright. Maya wanted to look away, wanted to get in her car and drive off and not feel this pull in her chest, but she didn't. She held his gaze for a long moment, then nodded once, an acknowledgement, nothing more, and left. That night, she called him. Ryan answered on the first ring, like he'd been holding the phone waiting. Maya, I read your letter. Silence. Then quietly, And I don't know what to do with it. You don't have to do anything. I just needed you to know that you remembered me. Yeah, I got that part. Maya leaned against her kitchen counter, staring at the water stain on the ceiling she kept meaning to fix. The thing is, Ryan, I don't remember you. I don't remember that day at all. And I've been trying to figure out if that makes it better or worse. I don't understand. You've been carrying this around for 30 years, this moment that meant everything to you. But for me, it was just another Tuesday. Just something I did because my mom taught me to be kind. And now you're telling me it's the reason you, what, fell for me, trusted me? I don't even know. It's not the reason, Ryan said. It's just part of it. Part of understanding why you felt familiar. Why being around you felt like coming home. Maya closed her eyes. Don't say things like that. Why not? Because it makes it harder. Harder to what? To stay angry, to protect myself. Her voice cracked. To not forgive you. Ryan was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was rough. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything. But I need you to know I'm trying to be better for Lily, for myself. And yeah, for you, even if you never want to see me again. How are you trying? I stepped back from the company, took a leave of absence. Maya's eyes flew open. You did what? I needed space to figure out who I am without it, and I needed to understand how I let it become more important than the people I care about. Ryan, I'm not asking for credit. I'm just telling you, because you asked. Maya sank down onto the floor, her back against the cabinet. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. That's the terrifying part. And Lily, how's she handling all this? Better, now that you're back in her life? She talks about you constantly. What you said, what you did, what bracelet pattern you taught her. Ryan laughed, but it sounded tired. You're her hero, you know that? She's a good kid. She is, and she deserves better than a dad who's too busy building an empire to notice she's struggling. You're noticing now. Yeah, because you made me. Maya didn't know what to say to that. Can I see you? Ryan asked suddenly. Not for Lily, just you and me. One conversation. If you hate it, I'll leave you alone. But I need to try. Every instinct told Maya to say no, to protect herself, to keep the walls up, to not give him another chance to hurt her. But then she thought about Lily crying in her arms, about Ryan's letter, written in careful handwriting because he knew she deserved more than a text, about the way he'd looked at her through the car window, like she was the only thing that mattered. One conversation, she said. That's it. That's all I'm asking. Tomorrow, 6 p.m., Shelby Park. Ryan's breath caught. Okay, I'll be there. Maya hung up before she could change her mind. The next evening, Maya arrived at the park 10 minutes late on purpose. She told herself it was because she'd had trouble finding parking, but really it was because she needed those extra minutes to steel herself, to remember all the reasons this was a bad idea. Ryan was already there, sitting on the same bench he'd described in his letter, wearing jeans and a t-shirt instead of his usual suit. He looked up when she approached, and the relief on his face was so naked it hurt to see. You came, he said, standing. I said I would. They stood there awkwardly for a moment, the air between them charged with everything unsaid. Finally, Ryan gestured to the bench. Want to sit? Maya sat, leaving space between them. Ryan sat too, his hands clasped between his knees. I've been trying to figure out what to say, he started. Practiced it in my head about 100 times. But now that you're here, it all sounds wrong. So don't practice. Just talk. Ryan nodded, staring at the ground. I spent most of my life being afraid. Afraid of being poor again. Afraid of failing, afraid of being the hungry kid at the park. So I built walls. Made money. Made sure I'd never need anyone's charity again. And it worked. I had everything I thought I wanted. But I was empty, and I didn't even realize it until I met you. He looked at her now, his eyes searching hers. You treated me like a person, not a wallet or a connection or a means to an end, just a guy who wanted a sandwich. And for the first time in years, I felt seen. Maya's chest tightened. So what was I? Some kind of experiment? A way to feel normal? No, you were real, the realest thing in my life. But you still lied. I didn't lie. You let me believe you were someone you weren't. That's lying, Ryan. He flinched, but didn't argue. You're right, and I'm sorry. I should have told you the truth from the beginning, but I was scared that if you knew, you'd look at me differently, like everyone else does. And now? Now you do look at me differently. And I hate it, but I understand it. Maya turned away, watching a couple walk by with a stroller, their easy laughter cutting through the evening air. Do you have any idea what it felt like? Seeing your face on the news and realizing I'd been some kind of charity case, that you'd been playing poor while your company tried to destroy my livelihood? I wasn't playing anything. It doesn't matter what you meant. It matters what it looked like. She faced him again, her voice shaking. I felt like an idiot, Ryan. Like some naive girl who fell for a guy who was probably laughing at her the whole time. I would never. I know. Logically, I know. But feelings aren't logical. Ryan scrubbed a hand over his face. What do I have to do? Tell me, and I'll do it. There's nothing to do. That's the problem. You can't undo what happened. You can't make me forget. So that's it? We're done? Maya's eyes stung. I don't know. Maybe. They sat in silence, the weight of it crushing. Ryan looked like he wanted to say something, argue, fight for this, but he didn't. He just sat there, accepting her words like a punishment he knew he deserved. Finally, Maya stood. I should go. Ryan stood too. Maya, wait. There's one more thing. What? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Old, yellowed, the creases worn soft. He handed it to her. Maya unfolded it carefully. It was a child's drawing, done in crayon, a stick figure girl with dark hair handing a sandwich to a stick figure boy. At the bottom, in blocky letters, The Nice Girl, by Ryan. I drew that the week after you gave me the sandwich, Ryan said quietly. My mom kept it. I didn't even remember it existed until I called her asking about that day. She sent it to me. Maya stared at the drawing, her vision blurring. Ryan, I'm not showing you this to manipulate you. I'm showing you because that little girl, she mattered. Even when I forgot her name, even when I couldn't picture her face, she mattered. She taught me that kindness exists, that people can be good without wanting something in return. And finding her again, finding you, it felt like getting a second chance at something I didn't even know I'd lost. A tear slid down Maya's cheek. She wiped it away angrily. This isn't fair. I know. You can't just, this doesn't fix everything. I know that too. Maya folded the drawing and tried to hand it back, but Ryan shook his head. Keep it. It's yours. It was always yours. She clutched the paper, her hands trembling. I need time. Real time. Not a week or a month, but however long it takes for me to figure out if I can trust you again. Okay? And I need you to understand that I might not be able to, that this might be it. Ryan's jaw tightened, but he nodded. I understand. And you can't push. You can't show up at the cart or send me letters or try to... I won't. I promise. Maya looked at him, at the pain etched into his face, and felt her resolve crack. But you can still see Lily. She needs you, and she needs me, so we'll figure that out. Thank you. She turned to leave, but Ryan's voice stopped her. Maya? She looked back. I love you. I don't expect you to say it back. I don't even expect you to believe me. But I need you to know. Maya's breath caught. She opened her mouth, but no words came, so she just walked away, the drawing clutched in her hand, her heart breaking and mending in the same breath. The weeks that followed were strange. Ryan kept his promise. He didn't show up at the cart, didn't call, didn't push, but Maya saw him at the handoffs with Lily. Brief, polite exchanges where they didn't quite look at each other but were always painfully aware of the other's presence. Lily noticed, of course. She was too smart not to. "Why don't you and Daddy talk anymore?" she asked one afternoon while they were baking cookies in Maya's tiny kitchen. "We talk," Maya said, measuring flour. "No, you don't. You say hi and bye and that's it." Maya sighed. "It's complicated, Lily." "That's what grown-ups always say when they don't want to explain." "Fair point." Maya set down the measuring cup. "Your dad and I hurt each other, and we're trying to figure out how to fix it." "Do you want to fix it?" Maya thought about the drawing which she'd tucked into her bedside drawer, about Ryan's letter which she'd read so many times the creases were starting to tear, about the way her chest ached every time she saw him, like something vital was missing. "I don't know," she said honestly. Lily nodded, stirring the cookie dough with more force than necessary. "I think you do. I think you're just scared. When did you get so smart?" "I've always been smart. You just weren't paying attention." Maya laughed despite herself and pulled Lily into a hug. That night, after she'd dropped Lily off and driven home, Maya sat on her couch with the drawing in her lap. She studied the stick figures, the careful way child Ryan had drawn the sandwich, the smile on the girl's face. She'd been kind because her mother taught her to be, but Ryan had held on to it like a lifeline, and maybe that meant something. Maya pulled out her phone and stared at Ryan's number for a long time before finally typing a message. "I'm not ready yet, but I'm trying. That's all I can give you right now." His response came 30 seconds later. "That's enough. Thank you." Maya set the phone down, her heart pounding, and wondered if she was making a terrible mistake. But for the first time in weeks, the weight on her chest felt a little lighter. 2 months passed. Ryan threw himself into being a better father. He cut his work hours, ate dinner with Lily every night, helped with homework, learned to braid her hair after watching 7 YouTube tutorials. He wasn't perfect at it. His braids were lumpy and uneven, but Lily didn't care. "You're getting better, Daddy," she said one morning, looking at herself in the mirror. Yeah, last week it looked like a bird's nest. This week it just looks messy." Ryan laughed and kissed the top of her head. Progress. He also started therapy. It was Claire's idea, delivered with her usual bluntness during a lunch meeting he'd insisted on having to check in on the company. "You look like hell," she'd said, not unkindly. "Thanks. I'm serious. Whatever you're doing to fix yourself, it's not working. You need professional help." "I'm fine." "You're not. And if you say that word one more time, I'm going to throw this salad at you." So Ryan started seeing someone, a therapist named Dr. Patel, who didn't let him bullshit his way through sessions and called him out when he tried to intellectualize his feelings instead of actually feeling them. "You're afraid of being vulnerable," Dr. Patel said during their 4th session. "I'm not afraid. You built an empire so you'd never have to ask for help again. You married someone who left because you couldn't let her in, and now you've found someone who scares you because she sees past all your walls. Tell me how that's not fear." Ryan didn't have an answer. "The thing about walls," Dr. Patel continued, "is they keep people out. But they also keep you trapped. And until you're willing to tear them down, you're going to keep losing the things that matter." That night, Ryan wrote Maya another letter. He didn't mail it. Didn't even plan to. He just needed to put the words somewhere. "Dear Maya, Dr. Patel says I'm afraid of being vulnerable. She's right. I've spent my whole life trying to be strong, to be the one with the answers, to never need anyone. But the truth is, I need you. Not because you make me feel normal, or because you're some missing piece, but because when I'm with you, I don't have to be anyone but myself. And that terrifies me. I don't know if you'll ever trust me again. I don't know if we'll ever get back to what we had, but I'm trying to be the kind of man who deserves you, the kind of man who doesn't hide behind walls or money or fear. I'm trying to be brave enough to let you in, even if you decide you don't want to stay. Love, Ryan." He folded the letter and put it in a drawer with the others he'd written and never sent. And he kept trying. Ryan threw himself into being a better father. He cut his work hours, ate dinner with Lily every night, helped with homework, learned to braid her hair after watching 7 YouTube tutorials. He wasn't perfect at it. His braids were lumpy and uneven, but Lily didn't care. "You're getting better, Daddy," she said one morning, looking at herself in the mirror. Yeah? Yeah. Last week it looked like a bird's nest. This week it just looks messy. Ryan laughed and kissed the top of her head. Progress. He also started therapy. It was Claire's idea, delivered with her usual bluntness during a lunch meeting he'd insisted on having to check in on the company. You look like hell, she'd said, not unkindly. Thanks. I'm serious. Whatever you're doing to fix yourself, it's not working. You need professional help. I'm fine. You're not. And if you say that word one more time, I'm going to throw this salad at you. So Ryan started seeing someone, a therapist named Dr. Patel, who didn't let him bullshit his way through sessions and called him out when he tried to intellectualize his feelings instead of actually feeling them. You're afraid of being vulnerable, Dr. Patel said during their fourth session. I'm not afraid. You built an empire so you'd never have to ask for help again. You married someone who left because you couldn't let her in, and now you've found someone who scares you because she sees past all your walls. Tell me how that's not fear. Ryan didn't have an answer. The thing about walls, Dr. Patel continued, is they keep people out, but they also keep you trapped. And until you're willing to tear them down, you're going to keep losing the things that matter. That night, Ryan wrote Maya another letter. He didn't mail it, didn't even plan to. He just needed to put the words somewhere. Dear Maya, Dr. Patel says I'm afraid of being vulnerable. She's right. I've spent my whole life trying to be strong, to be the one with the answers, to never need anyone. But the truth is, I need you. Not because you make me feel normal or because you're some missing piece, but because when I'm with you, I don't have to be anyone but myself. And that terrifies me. I don't know if you'll ever trust me again. I don't know if we'll ever get back to what we had. But I'm trying to be the kind of man who deserves you, the kind of man who doesn't hide behind walls or money or fear. I'm trying to be brave enough to let you in, even if you decide you don't want to stay. Love, Ryan. He folded the letter and put it in a drawer with the others he'd written and never sent. And he kept trying. 3 months after Shelby Park, Maya's cart broke down. Not in the dramatic everything explodes kind of way, but in the slow, inevitable way things fall apart when you've been holding them together with duct tape and hope for too long. The griddle stopped heating evenly. The propane line started leaking. The wheels locked up so badly she couldn't move the cart without help. Maya sat on the curb at 5:30 in the morning, staring at the mess, and felt the fight drain out of her. She'd been running on fumes for months, working 14-hour days, saving every penny, trying to prove she could make it on her own. But the truth was, she was tired. Tired of struggling. Tired of pretending she had it all under control. Tired of lying to herself about what she actually wanted. Her phone rang. Lily's name on the screen. Maya almost didn't answer. It was too early, and she wasn't sure she could keep the exhaustion out of her voice, but guilt won. Hey, kiddo. Maya, are you okay? Lily sounded breathless, worried. I'm fine. Why? Because you always text me good morning by now, and you didn't, and I got scared. Maya's throat tightened. She'd started that habit months ago, a silly little thing to let Lily know she was thinking about her. The fact that the kid had noticed the absence made her chest ache. I'm sorry, sweetheart, my cart broke down and I got distracted. Is it bad? Yeah, pretty bad. Can Daddy help? Maya closed her eyes. I don't think so. Why not? He's really good at fixing things. Well, not fixing, but he knows people who fix things. And he has money. Lily, please, Maya, just let him help. He's been so sad, and I think if he could do something for you, he'd feel better. Maya wanted to say no. Wanted to hold on to her pride, her independence, all the reasons she'd been keeping Ryan at arm's length. But sitting there on the dirty sidewalk with her broken cart and her empty bank account, pride felt like a luxury she couldn't afford. Okay, she said quietly. But you have to promise me something. What? Don't get your hopes up about me and your dad. This doesn't mean we're getting back together. There was a pause. Then, in a voice too wise for 6 years old, Lily said, But it means you're not giving up, and that's something. Maya hung up and sat there for a long time, watching the sun come up over Nashville, wondering when she'd started letting a first grader be her voice of reason. Ryan showed up 40 minutes later, still in sweatpants and a faded t-shirt, his hair sticking up like he'd run out of the house without looking in a mirror. Lily called, he said, slightly out of breath. I figured. He looked at the cart, then at Maya, then back at the cart. How bad is it? Bad enough that I can't fix it myself, and I can't afford to pay someone else. Ryan crouched down, examining the propane line, the griddle, the wheels. Maya watched him, feeling something shift in her chest. He looked different than he had 3 months ago. Lighter, somehow. Like he'd put down a weight he'd been carrying for years. I can fix this, he said finally. Ryan, not me personally. I don't know shit about propane, but I know a guy who does. And I know another guy who can replace the griddle. And the wheels are probably just rusted. We can get those moving again. Maya wrapped her arms around herself. I can't pay you back. I'm not asking you to. I don't want charity. Ryan stood, meeting her eyes. It's not charity. It's just helping. The way you helped me when I was 8 and hungry and didn't know that kindness still existed in the world. Maya's defenses crumbled a little more. That's not fair. I know, but it's true. He took a careful step closer. Let me do this, Maya. Not because you owe me or because I'm trying to buy my way back into your life, but because you need help and I can give it. That's it. Maya looked at him, at the earnestness in his face, and felt the last of her walls crack. Okay, she said, but I'm keeping track. And when I can pay you back, I will. Deal. He made calls right there on the street, and by noon, 3 different contractors had shown up. Ryan coordinated everything, staying out of their way, but making sure Maya understood what was happening, what was being replaced, what it would cost. He didn't try to take over, didn't act like he knew better. He just facilitated, and when Maya had questions, he answered them without condescension. By late afternoon, the cart was functional again. Better than functional. It was the best it had been in years. The contractors packed up and left, and Maya stood there staring at her cart like she couldn't quite believe it was real. Thank you, she said quietly. Ryan shoved his hands in his pockets. You're welcome. They stood in awkward silence for a moment, the space between them charged with everything unsaid. Can I ask you something? Maya said. Yeah. Why are you really doing this? And don't give me the line about the sandwich. I need the truth. Ryan looked at her for a long moment, then sighed. Because I'm trying to be the kind of man who shows up. Not with money or connections or grand gestures, but just shows up. For the people who matter. And you matter, Maya. Even if you never forgive me, even if we never get back to what we had, you still matter. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. You're making this really hard. Good. You should make me work for it. She laughed despite herself, wiping at her eyes. You're an idiot. Yeah, I know. They stood there as the sun started to set, painting the street in shades of orange and gold, and for the first time in months, Maya felt something that almost resembled hope. That night, she called him. Ryan answered immediately. Everything okay with the cart? The cart's fine. I'm calling about something else. Okay. Maya took a breath. I want to try again. Not go back to how things were, but start over. Clean slate. See if we can build something real this time. The silence on the other end was so long Maya thought the call had dropped. Ryan? I'm here. Are you sure? No, not even a little bit. But I'm tired of being angry, and I'm tired of pretending I don't miss you, and I think maybe we both deserve a chance to get this right. What changed? You did. Or maybe I did. I don't know. But today, watching you show up and help without making it about you, that mattered. Maya, His voice cracked. I don't know what to say. Say you'll have dinner with me tomorrow night, just the 2 of us. Yes, absolutely yes. Okay, I'll text you the details. She hung up before he could say anything else, her heart pounding, wondering if she was brave or just reckless. They met at a small Italian place on the edge of downtown, the kind of restaurant with checkered tablecloths and candles and wine bottles and waiters who'd been there for decades. Ryan arrived first, sitting at a corner table, fidgeting with his napkin. When Maya walked in, he stood so fast he nearly knocked over his water glass. Hi, he said. Hi. They sat, and for a moment neither of them knew where to look. Finally Maya laughed. This is weird, right? We've had a kid together for months, and now we're acting like teenagers on a first date. We never actually had a first date, Ryan pointed out. We went from strangers to co-parenting with no in-between. Fair point. The waiter came and took their orders, and once he left, Maya leaned back in her chair, studying Ryan. So, clean slate. That means we start from the beginning. Okay? Hi, I'm Ryan Hale. I'm a workaholic who's trying to be less of one. I have a daughter who's smarter than me, and I'm completely terrified of screwing this up. Maya smiled. Hi, Ryan. I'm Maya Quinn. I run a food cart that breaks down too often. I'm stubborn as hell, and I don't trust easily, and I'm terrified too. What are you scared of? Maya considered the question. That you'll hurt me again. That I'll let you in, and you'll decide I'm not worth the effort. That I'm building something that's going to fall apart. Ryan reached across the table, his hand palm up. An offering, not a demand. Maya hesitated, then placed her hand in his. I can't promise I won't hurt you, Ryan said. I'm going to mess up, probably more than once. But I can promise I'll try, and I can promise I won't hide behind walls or money or fear. Not anymore. What made you change? Losing you. And realizing that everything I'd built meant nothing if I couldn't share it with the people who actually mattered. He squeezed her hand gently. Dr. Patel, my therapist, she said I've spent my whole life afraid of being the hungry kid at the park. So I built armor, made myself untouchable. But the thing about armor is, it keeps people out. And I don't want to keep you out anymore. Maya's eyes stung. I read your letter, the one you left at the cart. I've read it about 50 times. And I think I've been doing the same thing. Building walls, pretending I don't need anyone because needing people means they can hurt you. So what do? We try. We take it slow. We be honest, even when it's scary. Maya smiled through her tears. And we don't do it for some fairy tale ending. We do it because we actually like each other and want to see where this goes. I can do that. Good. Because if you hurt Lily again, I'll kill you. Ryan laughed. Noted. They ate dinner and talked for hours. About everything and nothing. About Ryan's leave of absence from the company, which he decided to make permanent, transitioning to a board position so he could focus on being present. About Maya's plans to expand the cart into a small restaurant someday, when she had the capital. About Lily's upcoming birthday and whether she'd want a party or just a quiet dinner. It felt easy, natural, like slipping back into a rhythm they'd both been missing. When the check came, they fought over it, playfully, both reaching for it at the same time. I invited you, Maya said. I'm paying. Not a chance. Ryan, I make considerably more money than you. Let me do this. That's exactly why I should pay. I don't want you to think... Think what? That you can't take care of yourself? Maya, I've watched you run a business on a shoestring budget for months. I know you can take care of yourself. But relationships aren't about being self-sufficient 100% of the time. They're about letting people help, letting people in. Maya stared at him, then slowly pulled her hand back. Fine, but next time I'm paying. Deal. Outside, they stood on the sidewalk, the night air cool and soft. Can I drive you home? Ryan asked. I've got my car. Can I walk you to it? Maya smiled. Yeah, you can do that. They walked slowly, neither of them in a hurry. When they reached Maya's beat-up sedan, she turned to face him. Thank you, she said, for tonight, for everything. Thank you for giving me another chance. They stood there, the air between them electric, and Maya made a decision. She stepped forward and kissed him. It wasn't the desperate, passionate kind of kiss from movies. It was soft and careful and real. A question more than a statement. Ryan's hand came up to cup her face, his thumb brushing her cheekbone, and Maya felt something inside her settle. When they pulled apart, Ryan was smiling. What? Maya asked. Nothing, just, I missed you. I missed you too. She got in her car and drove away, watching him in the rearview mirror until she turned the corner. And for the first time in months, the future didn't feel terrifying. It felt possible. The next 6 months unfolded slowly, carefully, like two people learning to walk after a long injury. Ryan and Maya dated. Actual dates, movies and dinners and walks through the park, where they'd both started. They talked about hard things, his tendency to overwork, her instinct to push people away when she felt vulnerable. They fought sometimes, small arguments that they learned to navigate without running. and they included Lily in everything. The three of them became a unit: movie nights on Ryan's couch, cooking lessons in Maya's tiny kitchen, Saturday mornings at the cart, where Lily helped serve customers, and Ryan washed dishes in the back. Lily thrived. She laughed more, talked more, started bringing friends home from school. And when Maya stayed over some nights, sleeping in the guest room at first, and then, eventually, in Ryan's, Lily just smiled and said, "About time." 8 months after their first real date, Ryan asked Maya to move in. They were lying in bed, the early morning light filtering through the curtains, and Ryan just said it. "Move in with us." Maya turned to look at him. "What?" "Move in. You, me, Lily. We're already basically living together half the time anyway, and Lily keeps asking when you're going to stay forever." "Ryan, I know it's a big step, and if you're not ready, I understand. But I want this. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to build a life together, not because it's easy or convenient, but because I love you and I can't imagine doing this without you." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "I love you too." "So is that a yes?" "It's a yes, but I need to keep the cart. That's non-negotiable." "Of course. I'd never ask you to give it up, and I need my own space, like an office or something. I love you and Lily, but I need somewhere to be alone when things get overwhelming." "Done. We'll convert the study." Maya kissed him, slow and deep. "Okay, let's do this." They told Lily that night over dinner. "Maya's going to move in with us," Ryan said. "How do you feel about that?" Lily looked at Maya, then at Ryan, then back at Maya. "Does this mean you're going to marry her?" Ryan nearly choked on his water. "We haven't, that's not, because I think you should. Then we'd be a real family." Maya laughed. "We're already a real family, kiddo. The paperwork doesn't change that. But it would be nice, right, to be official?" Ryan met Maya's eyes across the table, and something passed between them. Understanding, promise. A future they were both finally ready for. "Yeah," Ryan said. "It would be nice." 6 months later, on a Saturday morning in Shelby Park, Ryan proposed. It wasn't elaborate. No flash mob, no hidden photographers, no grand spectacle. Just the three of them at the park, at the bench where it had all started, and Ryan getting down on one knee while Lily bounced excitedly beside him. "Maya Quinn," Ryan said, his voice shaking slightly. "You've saved me twice in my life. Once when I was 8 and hungry and losing hope, and once when I was 38 and successful and completely empty. You taught me what kindness looks like, what love looks like, what showing up really means, and I don't want to spend another day without you. So, will you marry me?" Maya was crying openly now, nodding before he even finished. "Yes, yes, of course, yes." He slid the ring on her finger, simple, understated, exactly her style, and kissed her while Lily cheered. "Does this mean I can call you Mom?" Lily asked when they pulled apart. Maya crouched down, pulling the little girl into a hug. "You can call me whatever feels right, but I'd be honored if you wanted to call me Mom." "Okay, Mom." And just like that, they were a family. The wedding was small, held in the backyard of Ryan's, their house. Just close friends, a few family members, and an officiant who kept it short and simple. Maya wore a dress she'd found at a vintage shop, white and tea-length with lace sleeves. Lily was the flower girl, taking her job very seriously. And Ryan cried through his vows, which surprised everyone, including him. "I spent most of my life building walls," he said, his voice thick, "trying to protect myself from being hurt or needing anyone. But you knocked them down without even trying. You saw me, not my money or my company or my success, just me, and you decided I was worth loving anyway. I don't know what I did to deserve you, but I promised to spend every day trying to be worthy of that gift." Maya's vows were simpler. "I've always believed actions matter more than words, so I'm not going to make big promises I might not be able to keep. I'm just going to say this. I see you, Ryan Hale. The good, the bad, the messy. And I choose you. Today and every day after. That's it. That's my promise." They kissed, and everyone cheered, and for once, everything felt exactly right. A year later, they opened a restaurant together. It started as Maya's dream, a small place, nothing fancy, just good food and honest prices, and a space where people felt welcome. But Ryan helped her build it, using his business expertise without taking over, letting it be hers while making it theirs. They called it Shelby's after the park where everything began. The restaurant thrived. Maya ran the kitchen, creating a menu that changed with the seasons, using local ingredients, cooking with the same care she'd always had. Ryan handled the business side, permits, payroll, marketing, but spent most evenings in the dining room, chatting with customers, washing dishes, being present. And every Sunday they closed early and had family dinner in the back, just the three of them, sitting around a table that Maya had picked out herself, eating food they'd made together. One Sunday, almost 2 years after the wedding, Lily looked up from her plate and said, "I'm glad you found each other." "Yeah?" Ryan asked. "Yeah, I used to be scared all the time, that you'd leave like Mom did, that everything would fall apart. But now I'm not scared anymore, because we're a team, and teams stick together." Maya reached across the table and took Lily's hand. "We do, no matter what." Ryan took Maya's other hand, completing the circle. No matter what. They sat there in the warm light of the restaurant, surrounded by the smell of good food and the sound of each other's breathing, and understood something fundamental about love. It wasn't about being perfect. It wasn't about grand gestures or fairy tale endings. It was about showing up. Day after day, in the small moments, in the hard moments, and the ordinary moments that made up a life. It was about choosing each other, even when it was difficult. It was about building something real, something honest, something worth fighting for. And it was about understanding that kindness, given freely, without expectation, could change everything. Years later, when people asked Ryan how he'd built his second fortune, the restaurant had expanded into 3 locations, all thriving. He always told them the same thing. "I didn't build it. We did. And the secret wasn't money or connections or business strategy. It was just showing up for the people who mattered and letting them show up for me." And when they asked Maya what made Shelby's special, she'd smile and say, "We treat people like they matter, because they do. That's it. That's the whole secret." Because in the end, that's what it all came down to. Not money or success or fairy tales, just people seeing each other. Really seeing each other. And deciding to build something together. One meal, one moment, one choice at a time.